Oh no. Oh no. Captured me with your net. Oh no, they've got me at gunpoint. I'm about to get shotted unless I can answer these questions about finance quickly. What are the questions? People DM me in my gram and they're like, hey Moneycat, what does this term mean? And I don't know if they're testing me or if it's like a beef, but I won't tell them because fuck them. And now they've captured me and now I have to answer them or they're going to tie me up and like maybe step on me, which would be terrible. Don't do that. Right, your LVR or your loan to value ratio. So this is how much the loan is in proportion to the value of the house you buy. So this is like a mortgage term. So if you have a $100,000 house and a $50,000 loan, that's a 50% LVR, loan to value ratio. So generally, you want to keep your loan above. Don't shoot me. Above, don't step on me. Don't slap me. Below 80%. You want to keep it below 80%. You can sometimes go up to like 90 or 95% if it's like in certain situations, but that's also pretty dicey because if like you lose your job, you might be fucked. So your best bet's to keep it below 80%. LVR, loan to value ratio. Fixed rates. Okay, this is a good question. I get this all the time from people. Should I have a fixed rate or variable rate? So a fixed rate is where you go to your bank and you're like, hey, I want this loan, but I don't want you to just fuck around with the interest rate all the time and like make it go up and go down and go up and go down. I want to know what's going on in my life. So the bank's like, all right, Moneycat, that's weird first name. And I'm like, don't judge me. My parents made me that name. They're like, all right, well, we're going to give you 2% fixed for 2 years. So that's good because it means it's always going to be 2% for 2 years. But the downside is oh no. So the downside is once it's locked in, it's locked in. So if you have a $300,000 home loan at 2% for 2 years, you can't just pay 50% of it off randomly. That's the deal, right? You can't pay extra off. You can't pull extra out. It's all fixed. It's just the deal. So like a lot of people will like split their loans, like 50% fixed, 50% variable, try to hedge their bets. That's kind of cool. So variable rates are the opposite of fixed rates. But now, I don't like this. Variable rates are like the opposite of fixed, right? Where the interest rate floats depending on what the wider interest rate environment is. So that's good because if it's like a low interest rate environment like now, it's cheap and you can pay off extra whenever you want or you can pull stuff out. It's fucking glorious. But if interest rates all of a sudden go up like 2%, your home loan goes up 2%. And if you got $1 million loan, that's fucking like 20 grand a year. It's rough. So conditional approval is like the opposite of like when your mum tells you she loves you unconditional. Like there's some conditions attached to the bank loving you. And the conditions are, it's like you send all your shit into the bank and you're like, hey, I want a home loan. But I don't know like what house I want to buy yet because houses go in like 2 days. Can't dig around. So they're like, all right, bozo, listen up. You're conditionally approved to $800,000. So according to all your financial information, you're good for 800 grand. So go and get a house. When you're ready to get a house, tell us and we'll check that you're not buying something insane. And if you're just buying a normal house, you get the big tick and off you go. So it's really smart to like get a conditional approval before you go house hunting. Like sometimes I see people, they'll be like, all right, time to buy a house. So they'll just decide, I don't know how the fuck they decide, but they decide they want to spend like 800 grand on a house. So they're like, all right, I found this house for 800 grand. Then they go to the bank and they're like, hey, can I have 800 grand? And the bank's like, bro, you literally don't have a job. No. And then you got all this heartache and maybe you sign a contract because you're a moron who didn't think about it. Get the conditional approval first, know how much money you can borrow, and go find your house. A lot of people are like pretty in the closet with finance and other aspects of their lives. And I think it's important to come out. Like I always try to come out of the closet with things, you know, and so especially with finance, take a little bit of time to learn the terminology, learn the vibe, learn where the best clubs are at, you know, things like that. Learn what you're into before you get into this, right? Because you don't want to be like, you want to buy a house, next thing you know, you're in a German fetish club at 3 a.m. and you realize like that scene's not for you. You want to know about the scene, like, you know, go like, you know, watch a few other couples. You want to watch a few other couples to see what houses they're buying, figure out what you want, get your head in the game before you go in the German fetish club that is a bank. Hopefully I'm not going to get shot in the head or cancelled for this. Have a lovely day.